Okay, so I've been trying to talk about this topic for a while, and every single time I do, something seems to happen. I don't know, YouTube is weird for people at times. But what I was saying originally when I was trying to do this is that have you ever came across a topic that makes your blood boil, that makes you want to go out and do some vigilante justice? Because one thing I would say for sure, I am a father. I'm a man that does not enjoy conflict. However, though, if you invite my kid to a party and they get jumped, not jumped just by their peers, but people who are legally adults, we're going to have a problem. You're going to have to see me about that. And here's the thing about that. I'm from the South. And from the South, you're taught from a very young age to how to navigate whiteness. And what I mean by that, interacting with white people in general, normally the police, knowing how to, or not really how to, where to go and not to go at nighttime, and just be extra cautious about people, because not everybody is your friend. People could smile in your face and be your worst enemy. It happens all the time. So for me being from the South, and if I would have heard anybody say, or my friend would have invited me, hey, let's go to this barn party, my first question would have been, who's all going to be there? And if everybody that they said was going to be there was going to be white people in general, I would have dipped out. Now, I'll be real here. I'll be like, nah, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'm not going. If I'm going somewhere and my own people is not going to be there, I don't want to be there. And it can't be just like one other person. It has to be like a considerable amount of people, at least 20% of any party of event. It's got to have somebody with some melanin there. If not, I'm not going. And that's just for my own safety. Because that's not paranoia. That's just the reality that we live in this world. So, 14-year-old Keontae got assaulted in a barn party on August 25th, or August 16th, excuse me, by multiple men. Now, initially when the reports came out, they said that he was potentially being pushed into a meat grinder. That's not true. When I saw the video myself, I looked at it. No, that did not look like a meat grinder. However, though, that doesn't mean it wasn't a piece of dangerous farm equipment. From where I live, it looked like one of those machines. I can't think of what they're called right now, but it pretty much picks up like all the corn and stuff, and it's kind of picks it up and takes it away. It looked like one of those. Still has sharp pointed in, still made out of metal. Still could have unalived the young boy. Because people want to act tough, act hard. And you know what's really interesting about the video is you heard people trying to imitate blackness whenever they was assaulting a young man. And that irritated me more than anything else. But let's go ahead and watch the news report about this. I got a few videos I want to go over, and then let's go ahead and let's have a full discussion about this.
Cell phone video appears to show a group of teenagers attacking a 14-year-old African.
Not just teenagers. There were 18, 19, and 20-year-olds there too that put their hands on him. And that's why I said somebody had to see me about that. Because once you're a legal adult, you should know better.
American teen.
Not just a legal adult. This a human being in general. You should not be jumping anybody. Back in the day, and I know I sound old by saying this, but realistically speaking, back in the day, there was a lot of one-on-ones. The only time there was a group of people who was getting ready to throw down is normally against another group of people. You don't see this whole entire jumping stuff. Nah, this ain't cool. This ain't nothing. This is some weak. I'm trying not to curse. This is some weak stuff.
From Platteville in the town of Pulaski on Saturday, August 16.
And I'm looking at the video, and it tore my heart.
Lynn Parrott is the city of Platteville's alderperson at large and says she was shocked to see the video.
Why is she shocked? So I did some research on Platteville, and this is not the first and only instance something like this happened. And we'll go over those videos too. She has no reason to be shocked. Hell, there was something that's very similar happening to this last year that nobody knows about. But I'm going to play that video though. Let's wait.
The victim's mother sent it to her.
The slurs and the verbiage and beat that N-word and F that N-word and bust his eye. Like, why?
Parrott says thankfully
And that thing that looked like a mosh pit was just a bunch of white people trying to get to the black boy.
14-year-old boy is recovering from his injuries and is okay physically, but says he's emotionally scarred from this incident forever.
He could get to the point where he doesn't trust. He'll lose friends. He'll withdraw if that's what we want.
Parrott says the boy told his family that he was a target because the group mistook him for someone else. You can see in the video some of the people there tried to break up the fight. Iowa County Sheriff Mike Peterson says the fight is under investigation. His deputies responded that night because a fire was reported at the same spot. When they got there, the people who were part of the fight had left. They are reviewing the video now to identify the people involved.
Now, they're not telling the full story there, okay? They're really not. So, supposedly, what the young men were saying that were, I don't even call them young men, the little rats were saying that he slapped a woman there or another girl there. It was trying to steal some firearms. And that's why they reacted the way he did. They said it wasn't racial, but it was this, them trying to protect the girl and trying to get rid of a thief. You didn't hear nobody say anything about him putting his hands on a woman on the original video. Obviously, I can't play. I just played the news clips they had. Obviously, you didn't hear anything about him stealing. None. You didn't hear none of that. So the police officers are there because of a fire. Clearly, that place is out of control and rowdy. Clearly, that place has a history, and I'll bring up that a little bit later, too. But it has a history, and nobody got arrested. Normally, when you hear stuff like that, when somebody gets assaulted, attacked, or unalived, and nobody is arrested, it's normally the good old boy system when it comes to the whole entire whiteness system, and they have somebody in place to protect the people there. And what I mean by that is, if what was his name? The guy who got murdered by his wife, Rambo Raskins, I want to say. His wife accidentally shot him with a firearm, a shotgun actually, and took his life, quote unquote, by accident or mistake. However, though, what ended up happening, I think she might have spent a night in jail, but she got out and all her charges was dismissed. Her father was a sheriff or something along those lines. Again, the whiteness system is interconnected. It really is. So whenever you're messing with somebody that's pale skin, clear skin, whatever you want to call it, they normally know somebody that knows somebody that's in a position that could either give them a pass in life or make your life more difficult. So that's why you got to be careful who you interact with and who you befriend. I'm not saying that of all white people, but in general, in small towns like that, it's the good old boy system. Your mama or his mama could have babysat the sheriff at one point in time. So they have a really close connection and, they're going to look out for, his old babysitter's son. It's all kinds of craziness like that. But when I said that this town has a history of doing stuff like this similar, I found a video. This happened back in 2024. Let's take a look at this. And nobody's talking about this either. We'll go over this in a minute.
Tonight, a 20-year-old has been arrested for his involvement in a fight that happened in Grant County. He's facing disorderly conduct and misdemeanor battery charges.
The Grant County Sheriff's Office says more arrests could be coming. The fight happened shortly after 1 o'clock in the morning on August 18th in the Jamestown Township. Video showing some of the incident was posted online, and in it, you hear racial slurs.
They said they were going to kill me. They said that I was their slave and their property.
That's Keegan Taylor. He's seen in the video getting punched, strangled, and stripped of his clothes by a group of white men. As a black man, Taylor told our Grace Hodak he has never seen racism to this extent in his area.
Now, Grace joins us now, and Grace, Taylor was with his friends Tatum Zulke that night, and they told you that fight started after they were asked to leave a party?
They tell me they were kicked out of the party because the host did not know them. Zolke says on his way out, he made a comment along the lines of "this blows." That's when he says the group of white men started screaming racial slurs at him as they chased after him. Zolke was able to get away, but Taylor, who says he was waiting a block away for everyone to leave, was not. Before we show you the video of the fight, we want to warn you it is hard to watch. You're going to see a blur on multiple people, and we chose to do that because they have not been arrested in this case. And
another instance of them not being arrested. You can't make this up. When I say when you're in small town areas, it is not being a punk to just walk away from that situation, because you'll end up being some tree fruit eventually if you're not careful. Doesn't matter how tough you are. If you're outnumbered by 5 people, 9 times out of 10, those 5 people are going to win unless you're like an extremely trained fighter with some type of defense mechanism. Let's go ahead and continue.
We have not independently confirmed their identities, but Taylor, the man being hit, agreed to us showing his face in the video.
We are completely off their property. They chased us the whole block away where we were parked just to come out and get us, and that's where they found me.
Keegan Taylor says this 26-second video captures only a small fraction of him being beaten.
I'm just shaking thinking about it. Like, it's going to take a minute to get over, and it's just tough.
It's not going to take a minute. And unfortunately, when stuff like this happen to black people, it can go a few different ways. One direction, it could be they become, I never necessarily like this word, but more militant. They just say F YT people and just want to stick to their own kind, and that's it. The other side of that coin is they can become completely submissive and do anything to get that acceptance, so they won't ever have to go through anything like this again, because being jumped is very traumatic. It's not a very common thing, but it happens enough. It's happened to me, or almost happened to me. I got saved. I could tell that story a little bit here towards the end, but I empathize with this young man, and I really do hope that in the year of 2024, when this happened in 2025, that right now that he is seeking help and therapy to work through this, and that he has a good, strong community of family that's willing to help and support him through his hard times. Because I guarantee you, he's going to have night sweats about this. He's going to have PTSD about this. And, you know, we give all this support for our soldiers and everything else, and police officers and things like that. But when it comes to a black man that is traumatized, that has been actually racially discriminated against, and not no made up stuff and words that doesn't matter for other people, this is a problem, and we never get any help. We always got to fix through it ourselves. And I hope that he doesn't turn to other substances like alcohol or illegal substances to cope with what happened to him, and that he does have that strong feeling in you. But this is going to continue, though.
Really tough.
Taylor says he was attacked out of nowhere and believes it was because of his skin color.
Like that, you stupid.
They start stripping me of my clothes. Like, they ripped my backpack off of me. They ripped my shirt off of me. They snatched my chain. They ripped that off of me and broke it.
A warning, we're going to unmute some of the video now. We did edit out a racial slur that was used.
I hired you on my farm. Are you done?
Just consistently saying they were going to kill me, and just like, I heard every single racist thing you could say. Like, there's nothing else that can be said to me that's going to be more hurtful than what they said.
You never ever think it's going to happen to you, but like, until it does, and it's just like, wow, this is actually the world we live in.
The two say they know it's going to take time.
And I feel like them being in Wisconsin, being more in the north, they may have thought that that's more of a southern thing, that, you know, racism doesn't exist up there, but racism is everywhere in America. America was built off racism. Let's just make that perfectly clear, be honest about that. I mean, that's how America was built. So it doesn't matter where you are in Wisconsin, Alabama, Georgia, it's there. It's always going to be there. And it's unfortunate that these young men had to experience this, and it doesn't seem like they were prepared by their family members that are supposed to have these honest conversations with them when it comes to their skin color and who they should and should not be around, and what alarms and things they have to pay attention to. Like I said, I'm from the South. I had to learn from a very early age how to navigate whiteness in police. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like nobody had the same conversation with these young men. Like I said before, if I'm going anywhere, to any party, any event, I need to see at least 20% black people there. At least 20%. If I don't see at least 20%, I don't need to be there.
Time to not only heal, but for the sheriff's office to fully review the case. They hope the right people will be held accountable.
How are you going to sit there and say that's not a hate crime when it clearly is, when obviously they were just coming to fight a black person?
On the outside, to everybody else, I feel like I'm acting as I normally do, but on the inside, like when I'm sitting alone, like I still feel it on a day-to-day. I think eventually with enough voice and enough action, things will be handled the way they should.
Taylor tells me the fight was recorded on Facebook Live and someone screen recorded it and posted it online. He says without that video, he feels he would have a, quote, pretty poor case. The sheriff's office says there are more charges coming for other people who were involved, including juveniles. It will give all the evidence to the district attorney's office, and the DA will ultimately decide what charges are filed and whether to apply a hate crime enhancer.
So I went ahead and looked that up, that case, that situation, and I didn't see anything, no updates. So what happened to Keontae last month is going to get the same treatment, I have a feeling. Both these incidents are on video. Nobody has been arrested yet. It's going to get buried. It's going to get buried. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and play this other video I have too.
Student leaders at UW Platteville say the school's at risk of losing some minority students after repeated incidents of racist graffiti. NBC 15's Dana Bruick explains.
UWP is what college should be, and I feel as a black student on campus, this is not what college should be.
About a week ago, 2 racist threats were discovered scrawled on the doors of 2 residence halls.
I was angry. I was highly upset.
Then another threatening message late last week. The threats followed more than a dozen cases of offensive graffiti of all kinds this semester. Junior Brittany Dupree is the president of the Black Student Union.
Broke down in tears.
She calls it an ongoing problem.
I thought, here we go again.
Last year, there were 3 reported incidents of racially charged graffiti. Dupree wants the school to do more, saying the situation has a number of students thinking about leaving campus for good.
We don't all have to come together and sing Kumbaya, but just to know that while you're on campus that you need to respect the students of color here on campus. And I don't think that's been done.
In response to the incidents, a couple of student-led residence hall groups have come up with the Not in Our House campaign. Pins, pledges, and door decals as a visible sign of support for all students.
That's a part of what these campaigns are about. Getting other people connected in so other eyes are watching.
The chancellor has called for the campus to stand up and speak up.
You'll get one of
Rhonda Viney, director of student housing, maintains what's happening here happens everywhere.
I do. I truly believe that schools cover it up, don't want it to be known, trying to recruit.
The Black Student Union says it's doing its part, trying to recruit the campus community to a forum to stand against racism.
And again, like I said, it's a very common thing. Now, if you go on to this, type in Platteville and Reddit, you'll see all kinds of crazy stuff there, right? But this is just a short list I compiled of this racist stuff. Now, you see, I said it's a very short list. It was just, I didn't want to spend too much time on it. But just like how the young man who got jumped last year and was trying to be made somebody's slave. And Wisconsin is so big and rural enough, I wouldn't be surprised they don't have slaves there. But yeah, if you want to look over this, pause it, whatever you want to do, go ahead. But this is disturbing. And unfortunately, with the way America is right now, with the things in our government, this won't be taken seriously until Trump is out of office, if I'm being 100% honest with you. And even then, he has caused so much chaos within the country, it's going to take so much longer after that for us to even get any attention paid to us. So I hope that people will spread the message of this video, spread the word of it too. Before we go, let me see if I can find the original video that I saw, and I actually saw it on TikTok.
No, because if the media is...
Okay, so here it is.
No, because if the media is not going to cover it, we're going to talk about it. It's 2025. A 14-year-old named Keontae from Chicago went to a barn party with his friends in Highland, Wisconsin. He was targeted. It was not by accident, nor was it by mistake. Keontae was beaten, slammed into a meat cutter, all while...
It wasn't a meat cutter. I want to make sure that's part is clear. It wasn't a meat cutter. If you see the machine, that doesn't look like a meat cutter, but still a dangerous machine nevertheless, though.
The white boys were yelling racial slurs. You could clearly hear one of them, I think it was the cameraman, saying F that with a hearty RR. You can also hear people chanting in the background, killed that with a hearty RR. Do you know what happened next? The sheriff came out that night for a fire, but not for him. They didn't even document the assault or incident. What's even crazier, there are reports coming out he is the third black boy that's been attacked at this barn. And not one.
You see, the only reason I didn't mention that in my video because I did not see or hear anything on my end when I was doing my research about a third person being attacked at that barn. It doesn't surprise me in the very least, especially in that area. Because, again, there was another young man who was jumped the year before that. But, yeah.
One national media news outlet has picked this up. Not one. We're in Trump's America. Black pain gets ignored. Hate crimes get buried. Justice only comes when we raise hell about it. That baby did not deserve this. He is mentally scarred for life. No, because if the media...
And let's see. Any names in the comments, see what happens when they invite us to their cookouts. And thought we were friendly because it's mild. Yep, see. Barn in Wisconsin is the first warning. Parents, teachers, children never seen racial hatred towards us. The base of no hunting, no sleepovers, no boating, no parties. Yep. Teacher care they are not our friends. Don't become to pray. They can invite me. I'm switching everything. Oh, I know what he means. Let's see. Hey, please start having this conversation for our children. Let them know the danger. And yes, that's what I was saying before too, that being in the South, being from the South, I had to learn from a very early age how to navigate whiteness. And there was plenty of stuff that was done and said that was unfair that I should have got some type of justice for, that I just had to suck it up and move on. Nobody cares about a black person's tears, especially a black male's tears, unfortunately. My question is, why are they going to that barn? Why? Exactly. Why would they go to the barn? I wouldn't have. So, I are the worst in the South. But yeah, I want to go ahead and go. I've probably talked enough on this. You guys tell me what you think. Share, like, comment. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And keep your kids safe. Talk to them.